This is Carlos Garcia. I was coming today because this is gonna be my first official video on my new channel, and I really hope this channel takes off because I feel like more and more people need for more and more people need to learn about Christ. And today I was gonna cover the topic of my testimony because not everybody knows about it, and that will give you a comprehensive story about me. So let's begin. So I really like the verse Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me," or who gives me strength. But the one that says gives me strength is out of the ESV Bible. That's the one I use the most. I wanted to give you a comprehensive history through my testimony of why I like the verse so much. I liked this verse for years and years. So let's begin with the actual testimony. When I was little, between the age of and 1.5 to 2 years old, I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which is a brain disorder, if y'all did not know that. With being diagnosed with cerebral palsy, the doctors had no idea how much I would improve. The reason I know this is a shocker is because on their faces during those appointments. At that time, when I was very young, occupational and physical therapists would come to the house to help me with my disability. Later, as I became a little older, I was given walkers, crutches, and customized braces that would fit my feet. These really helped me out. When I was 30 years old, I started school at Livonia Elementary School in a life skills class. Those classes, they help people with disabilities. So let's fast forward a little bit. On my 8th birthday, family members all chipped in to buy me my first adult tricycle. Even though I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I was still involved with many activities such as showing animals, Special Olympics, and much more. I had my struggle with those events because I was not that physically strong. Due to cerebral palsy, I started showing animals later than usual. I started the Special Olympics early in life when I was in elementary. These activities and riding my tricycle helped me to get stronger. By the time junior high came, walking became easier for me. Although walking became easier, I would still get tired real easy. At the point of going to junior high, I never had to wear my foot braces again, and it was mainly in the reason for my foot braces was mainly because some of my feet didn't twirl in or out. Junior high was hard because I was bullied and picked on so much due to my disability. Before we move on, I have to say that I was in a special educational program from elementary through high school. During that time of special ed, I was transitioned from fully special ed to about half my classes being special ed. So later on, high school rolls around, and of course I had my challenges. When I had, while I had fun and great times at school, there were always those people who would pick on me. There were times in high school that I would go to a basketball game and think to myself, why am I so different? There were many times that I would think that way. From elementary through high school, therapists would come to the school to help me with my CP. I rode my trike the whole time, and to this day I ride it. You have to know that I went to the doctor a bunch, And my very last appointment was pretty neat, and I still remember the conversation my mom had with him. The doctor asked my mom, how did he improve so much? She said, he has a cerebral bike. Maybe all your patients should have one. The shocking face on the doctor was funny because he did not expect me to improve as much as I did. Much of my life I went to church, but obviously, when you're young, you go to church to see friends. When I was about 15 years old, I accepted Christ at the Livonia Christian Teaching Center. It took me a while to understand if I accepted Christ or not. Many times and nights I prayed to accept him because I was not sure if I actually did. After a long time goes by me debating, I finally knew I accepted Christ. The only reason I knew was that I went to a crusade at the AT&T Center, and that is when I felt him show up. In the year 2006, I graduated from high school. Between high school and college, my parents gave me the option to go to college or not. I mentioned to them I want to go to college like my sister. My sister and I went to Tarleton State University. I started in the spring of '07. When I moved to college, I did not bring my crutches or walker because I did not feel I needed them. Since it was not like high school where people can actually run you over transitioning to class. I only had them just in case because at that point I felt like it was not necessary. So let's get into the meat of college. My first semester was great because I made all B's. The crazy part is that I was placed in remedial courses and academic probation because of my SAT, ACT scores were very low. My first 3 to 4 years of college went up and down. I was baptized in a church in college called Rocky Point Baptist Church. The reason why the first 3 to 4 years of college had its ups and downs and is because I didn't know what I was doing. There were many times I was judged. Uh, those many times were great, but the many times I was judged, I didn't like them. One thing that made me depressed was my grades were failing and being judged by so many people in the college life ministry. While time was good, there were bad ones. There were times I felt neglected, and I talked to this guy about it. I wanted to make sure I was not being oversensitive, and he basically told me they were being rude to me. It was so bad in that ministry that I literally started crying at the end because I didn't know what to do and where to go. There were rumors about me. People did not help me when I needed it. People would overly try to help me, and this woman said, "You will never know what I'm talking about." I I think what made this so bad was a combination of judgmental people feeling grades, lack of discipline, and being in special ed. It felt like I had arrows shooting at me from all directions. I literally was almost kicked out of school with a GPA of 1.97 since it was my last attempt to go to college and my parents knew my grades were low. They gave me the option to drop out or no? And I said no. I thought to myself, I'd rather drop out of college because of something else and not grades. A while after that, I changed ministries to Paradigm, where my friend was going, and it turned out to be much better. I went to Palo Alto Junior College to see what I could do regarding my grades. My grades were good at the junior college and not in Tarleton. This was the best part that happened to me in the class at Palo Alto, and I can't remember because I was lost in the moment. God gave to me a vision and clearly told me, you need to graduate. It was a great feeling. It was so cool that it's hard for me to explain. All I could say, something totally flipped in my brain because I don't know how this happened. I had a totally different aspect of things. My grades turned drastically for the better. Remember, this time I was going to Paradigm study during the school year. I felt like I learned much more about Christ and grew more. In the first 6 months of Paradigm, that in all my years of college life, there were many times closer to the end where I was happier, and closer to the end, I was happier on the outside, but not on the inside. In other words, I was depressed on the inside when I went to college life, but Paradigm, that's what I'm talking about. In Paradigm, I was happy on both sides. Just to note that I started Paradigm before God gave me the vision. But it was not too long before. During Paradigm, God put men in my life to help disciple me. This not only helped me grow at a bunch, but it has made me become a more happy and joyful person. This has made me more comfortable telling people my testimony without me feeling like people are going to make fun of me. I started being more open and honest with people as my insecurities were going away. With people being real Christians, I can actually ask for help, and I know they would help me. With me being in Paradigm and my faith becoming so much better, I actually saw God. I actually saw good work through the people. We also had something called challenge groups, where I also was provided the opportunity to keep growing my faith. Through the ministry, God really showed me what it means to love people and how messed up people are without Him. Paradigm has taught me to not think in a bad way of why I am different. Trust me, I had some bad times in Paradigm, but not as many as in college life. During this time, my grades were steadily going from bad to good, with me getting closer to God, working hard and having so much faith. I just completely changed as a person, and my grades were so good. Trust me, I had some bad times in Paradigm, but not as many as college life, like I said. I finally graduated in 2013 with a degree in computer information systems, which is CIS, with a GPA of 3.17. Graduation was very emotional for me because I didn't think I could do it. The reason I teared up the whole time is that it was huge for me. I was thinking to myself, what just happened? I was really like, God allowed me to graduate, despite it taking me a while to graduate. And all the trial I all the trials I've been through, He made it happen. Even when I was at my lowest points, He made it happen. Trust me, I cried like a baby. After my graduation, my dad asked me if I wanted to go to grad school, and I said no. The truth is, I was tired, overwhelmed, and not sure if I wanted to go to grad school. I had a semester to think about it since my lease was gonna end at the end of the semester. Afterwards, not too long after graduation, God made it clear that I needed to go to grad school. I applied at the last minute and had some great complications because one of my professors did not enter the grade right away. I started grad school and moved to a ministry called 402, and it was at the BSM. Personally, I became a part of the BSM's ministry because I thought Paradigm was getting too big and it was my time to move on. Also, with Paradigm, I started seeing a bunch of cliques and I hated that. The new ministry 402 was so much smaller, it felt more like family. Also, with it being so small, it reminded me of a bigger version of a small classroom. At that time, and with the small setting, I felt like I was growing more and more with Christ. A couple years later, being in grad school, I graduated with an overall GPA of 30.5 with a degree in Masters of Science in Information Systems, MSIS. This is why I personally thank God for putting people in my life, not only for CP purposes, but for schooling purposes. I just can't thank God enough for where I am physically and spiritually. I thank God for helping me out of those tough times that I felt scared and no way out. I thank God for allowing me to graduate twice, even if it took what seemed forever. I thank God for breathing and having a life. I thank God He will never give up on me or you. All you have to do is ask, and He's there. Even though all the doctor's appointments were a pain, I thank God for those too. I thank God for the challenges that I have occurred. It has allowed me to grow closer to Him. I thank God for my parents who helped me along this way and taking care of me, making sure that I was taken care of, by helping me along my journey. There is so much to be thankful for. With me listening to God, my struggles turned into something great because of the hard work. This is how Philippians 4:13 became my favorite verse. And now I just love being a part of our church. But now what I could do is, even though I get cerebral palsy stuff, like several challenges that other people do not have, I am thankful for God that I am able to witness about how God loves us through the many trials, and how He allowed me to graduate, and how He allowed me to overcome all the obstacles. Um, and for me, it's so much easier to do this to a person that has cerebral palsy, because I've been through all the bullying, I've been through all of that. So if anybody has like a disability, I'm there for you, because you know, I can't overcome this alone. It's only by the grace of God. Yes, you have to apply yourself, but the beautiful thing about God is He will never give up on you. And like I said before, if there are any struggles that are going on in your life, and you don't seem like you could get anywhere, you can always hit up a person at church, or hit a comment up on me down in the comments section, because this is a beautiful thing about our testimonies. Once you realize you have one, is the beautiful thing about the testimony is that challenges you overcame by the grace of God with His help. And I understand mine is a little different than a lot of people. Like, I went to church, I never got into like drugs or nothing. But it doesn't matter. Your each individual testimony is something to help you rely on God a little more, or a lot more in my case, actually a lot more. And you could tell people, that's, to me, telling people about my testimony is proof, other than scripture and Bible. It is proof that there is a God, and He will help you if you rely on Him. And the church I go to, I just like being a part of, because I do not feel neglected or nothing like that. All right. Well, if y'all got any questions, leave them in the comments. All right. Have a blessed day. Bye.